Hello, ioStux here. I was a little bit busy, so I did not write a script for this one, and my hair looks a little messy. I tried really hard to brush it, but it just doesn't go down, which means that I kind of need to get a haircut, but haircuts are expensive, which is why I'm here to tell you that if you like this coaching session, you can also get your own. I actually recently added something called loyalty discounts, which essentially means that the first session still costs the same, but if you're committed and you decide to go for one of the packages, or you just want more sessions in general, they get a lot cheaper. And number two, I know that some of you play in a team, and I figured, hey, maybe the entire team sucks and they need help. So I also offer team coaching. I did before, but it was kind of scuffed. Now it's like all official, and it's also a lot cheaper. So you can see all of the prices for that somewhere on the screen. And you can also see some of the recent reviews I've got in case you want some testimony. And yeah, the links for that are down in the description. You can also join my Discord. The hashtag AskStuxAnything channel is open for everyone as usual. So if you have any questions, then go for it. As long as you don't ask me any weird questions about relationships, because I have no clue. And yes, have fun with the session. Tell me how your life has been going.
It's fine. Semester's going well. I've been playing a lot of more Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like between 38, 3900, and I'm just, I'm okay with that. I've just been experimenting, seeing what I can get away with, really pushing
Kind
myself
of
to see
limit
what I can
testing.
do.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And that's really it. Nothing too far, like closer to GM. I might get my confidence is back. Just my mentality's back. It's going all well, but like I don't know. I just feel like because I don't want to like this is like one of the problems that I have. Like I don't feel like I am comfortable with choosing a hero unless it 100% fills the hero's niche. So for example, I was on Anubis
Mm-hmm.
with Ryan Zarya double sniper or Ryan Diva double sniper on defense, and so like initially I'm like, okay, I should go Mercy for the snipers, but then
Yes.
I started thinking like, oh, we have a Ryan and he wants to get like aggressive. I should probably go Lucio. And, like I'm just stuck between those two. And unless like it
But you're not
100,
though. So you want to pick Lucio because the Ryan wants to go aggressive.
mm-hmm.
But does he though? With two snipers and on Anubis defense.
Yeah, so Mercy would be the right call there.
What, like, no fucking contest, 100%. Like, picking Lucio there is literally throwing.
Yeah, but like that's just it. Like I don't really. It's just like I, don't know, I kind of just use what you told me like as hero niches like too strictly. Like it must meet all these requirements, and then you
No,
can
no, no,
pick the
no, no.
hero.
It's never going to meet all of those requirements unless you run like a set meta comp. So, for example,
Okay.
Goats was one of those comps where like all of the puzzle pieces fit together perfectly. But
Mm.
in your comp games, that is not going to happen. Especially now, the meta right now is like I wouldn't say it's very varied. Like it's never going to be varied, but it's not as one-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you're not always like when double shield was meta, you saw nothing but double shield literally every single game. It was the most
Oh yeah.
boring shit in existence, right? When goats was meta, you saw nothing but goats. I mean, it was bad goats, but it was goats. But right now, sometimes you see a Ryan, sometimes you see an Orisa, sometimes you see a Zarya, sometimes you see a, I don't know. Like, there's a lot more variety. So it means that you're not always going to be in a comp that just works together 100% perfectly. But
Mm.
you're always going to be in a situation where one character is just objectively superior to all of the other options that you have. So, in that one example right now where you're on Anubis defense, obviously, like, you should go Mercy because if you think about the pros of Mercy, for one, the map has a lot of high ground and you have multiple characters on your team who use that high ground, which means that as Mercy, you're going to get a shit ton of value out of your shift. It also means that you have res, and res is just kind of busted on defense in general. And
you have synergy, like natural synergy with your snipers, right? The only benefit that Lucio has there is, I mean, I don't know what benefit he has. Like, the only situation where Lucio would be useful there is if you wanted to speed someone in. But, like, who do you want to speed in? Because if you speed in the Reinhardt, that's suicide.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And honestly, if your Reinhardt is dumb enough to run in, then you shouldn't condone that behavior by giving him a speed boost. You should act like that's just another reason to go Mercy so that you can res him after he feeds, so that he has a chance to learn from his mistake, right? So again, they're just, objectively speaking, is just no reason to pick Lucio in that situation. Like, it doesn't even matter what your other support or what your off-tank picks. Only choose the character if the condition on why you're picking them actually works. So it is true that Lucio's speed boost is really good with Reinhardts who want to go aggressive, but if he doesn't want to go aggressive, then that entire point just becomes kind of null.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then another question I have is for, with the changes to Baptiste, where does he still shine? Because Bunker isn't really run that as much in this meta. So I'm kind of just, on the fence about when to choose him over Ana. Because from what I can, from what I have playing him, it's usually like holding Rialto, like it has very like sharp turns and corners, and I just use the Immortality to hold around there. And I also use it to like generally just pump out more damage than say like Ana can.
Generally speaking, which one you choose depends on how your team wants to play and which ultimate you're going to get more value out of. So, right off the bat, the solo carry potential with Ana is infinitely higher in solo queue, because one good nade can just turn the entire fight around. But, and that's the important but, picking Ana into Diva sucks. Like, it's really terrible. Back then, when Dive was meta, Ana was pretty much unplayable because of it. So, if the enemy team doesn't have a Diva, then you can consider going Ana if you feel like there's someone that you can nano boost. So, Reinhardt, for example, is a fine nano boost target, but if you're playing with an Orisa, then obviously that's not a super great play. Also, DPS picks, obviously, something like Reaper is a pretty nice nano boost target. But if you don't have a good nano boost target, or if they have a Diva, then you need to look at how much value you would get out of Baptiste's ultimate. So Baptiste is kind of the opposite. Ana likes it when her team is a little bit kind of spread out, because then she can, like, she's really good at dealing with teams who are spread out, because she can just, like, what's it called? She can, like, she has long range healing, right? So she doesn't need people to stand together. Baptiste is kind of the opposite. He sucks when people are all spread around. He just likes it when people are together. But you also need a team that can follow up on your ultimate. But the problem is, if people are playing Dive or Brawl, Dive doesn't work because everyone is spread. And Brawl doesn't really work either with Baptiste, because your team isn't really going to use your ultimate. They're just kind of going to run past it. The only situation where I could see Baptiste in Brawl is if you're playing Brawl on defense. Like, if you're playing Hanamura first point defense and your team wants to play Brawl for some reason, you can go Baptiste in that situation, because your team doesn't want to play, like, they don't have to play super aggressive. But even then, it depends on what other support and what other DPS you have, because you really need someone who can follow up on your ultimate. Otherwise, it's just not super high value.
All right. Yeah, that's all my questions that I have.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll send you the link for the VOD. There we go.
One, two, three is the password?
Yep, as always.
Okay.
What did you insta-lock, Lucio? Were you just like, oh, my team is gonna run Brawl anyways?
Well, yeah, it's attack, and I wanted to, get my Lucio win rate up and just practice some more, because I want to get to like GM and be like somewhat like competent with all the heroes. So I just figured,
So as I mentioned earlier, Insta-locking in general is a terrible idea. The only time you would do it was back then when Rolock didn't exist. So you just like people would insta-lock Tracer just so they could carry. You shouldn't really insta-lock right now, because the moment you pick Lucio, you essentially force your team into playing Brawl. But as I mentioned earlier, this meta isn't as one-dimensional as previous metas, where Brawl is just like objectively superior in every single situation. Now, in this situation, Hanamura attack, Brawl is probably still your best option, right? But it's not like double shield is completely unplayable. It's not like dive is unplayable, right? And the moment you pick Lucio, you force your team to go Brawl or to pick something that can benefit from the Lucio. But if they aren't actually super good at Brawl, then that might not be in your best interest. So you pretty much have nothing to lose by not insta-locking, but you have a chance of allowing your teammates to go onto their comfort picks, right? Because maybe, I don't know, you have a stack in your team. Like some of these people are duo queuing, and they're like a really, really strong Orisa Roadhog duo, right? Like their pull hooks are just on point, and Orisa Hog is still perfectly playable right now, right? Like they have a lot of synergy, they have practiced it a lot. But just by picking Lucio, you kind of deny them that combo, because Lucio doesn't do anything for that combo. Like Orisa Hog doesn't need a speed boost, right? So that's why it's best to just wait, see what your teammates pick. They probably would have picked Brawl here anyways, because most people are playing Brawl right now, and the Lucio pick is fine, so this doesn't really affect the outcome of this game, but it's just a good habit to have, to first let your teammates pick, and then kind of adjust to what they pick.
Right.
Okay. Are you playing Hans or Widow with Ryan? No, Soldier? Torb? Okay, this is a little confusing still. Okay. Your comp is really awkward.
The guy would just not get off Torb. Like, I wasn't flaming him for him. Just like, oh, if you're gonna play Torb.
Nah, if he picks Torb, he probably. I should always assume that when someone picks something niche like this, they know what they're doing. I'm just thinking whether Lucio is still the correct pick with the Torb. You have Torb Hanzo.
Yeah, this would be one of those situations where I'm like, I'm thinking Lucio, but like at the back of my mind, I'm like, should I, consider other supports? Like, this is a good example.
The enemy team also has a Ryan. You're running Ryan Zarya, which means that you have a frontline that can't really play super slow. Like, your frontline is pretty much forced to play aggressive.
You just don't have the DPS for it?
I probably would have gone Baptiste here, actually. So, the thing is, you don't really need the Lucio to engage here, because you don't need to close the gap. The enemy team has two options, right? Either they hold at the choke, which is optimal, but if they hold at the choke, then you don't need a speed boost. Like, you can just run into them without the speed boost. You don't need it, right? The reason why you need a speed boost in Brawl comp usually is because the enemy team is going to be holding on like some sort of high ground, or there's going to be some distance between you and the enemy team, and the speed boost allows you to close that gap. You don't necessarily need that here. Or the enemy team gives up the choke, they don't hold at the choke, in which case you kind of auto-win, because not holding at the choke just puts them at a huge disadvantage. Like, if you put them into a position where they have to let you through the choke, then you kind of auto-win. So the main reason you would pick Lucio here is to actually make it, reach the enemy team, but you don't really need that. Plus, it's not like Baptiste has no value in Brawl. So Baptiste still gets value in Brawl because you have AoE healing, and obviously Brawl is going to play AoE. You have Immortality Field, which means that if your Reinhardt runs in and tries to force the enemy Reinhardt out of the choke, then you can just drop your Immo Field, and that's probably going to be even more useful to him than the speed boost. And most importantly, with Hanzo Torb, you just get an ungodly amount of value out of your Baptiste ultimate. So I guess the best way to summarize it is, when looking at what your team is strong at, try to see which part of the team is more flexible, right? So it's easier for the Ryan Zarya to not rely on the speed boost than for the Hanzo Torb to kind of get value out of the speed boost. They just don't need it, right? Like your ability there is pretty much useless on your Hanzo and Torb. But with Baptiste's immortality field wouldn't be useless on Rein Zarya, right? So while the Lucio only supports the Rein Zarya here, the Baptiste, his abilities would give everyone on your team value. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically you want to see what part of the team is more flexible, and then you can change.
Exactly, like figure out which pick helps the most teammates. So the idea here was correct. Hey, my team wants to run Brawl, they're running Rein Zarya. I want to help them with the Lucio speed boost, right? But then you should have realized, well, okay, but we also have Hanzo Torb. The speed boost doesn't really do anything for them, right? And in that case, kind of look at alternatives. Is there anything that does help the Hanzo Torb, but also helps the front line?
And then Baptiste would be for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, your Torb got shit on. That's unfortunate. We just have to reset here. If your Torb gets picked, you can't really play aggressive. There's not much you could have done there. Isn't there something you should be doing?
Speeding our team back.
Yes.
Spawn.
Yes. You only have so much time. So you should always text it. Like, especially your main tank. You're just wasting a lot of time. And the problem is all of this is time where the enemy team could get a pick. You really want to get your main tank back as quickly as possible. Also, what did you amp for?
I didn't want our Hanzo to die.
Was it really necessary though?
No.
Why? What reason can you think of on why you don't want to waste your amp right now?
Well, our Rein's back.
Your Rein is back.
About to start.
Yeah.
Our team fight's about to
Your
start.
main tank is about to be back. You really want to have your amp up, because right now you guys are just kind of poking. He doesn't really need the heals. The Ana is healing him. He's behind a wall. It's a soldier, so you can. Wait, no, it's a Hanzo, right? But now you don't have your amp for like what, 12 seconds?
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. Ooh, huge anti. That heal amp was good for the Zarya. You need to get into the habit of not wasting so much time on heal aura.
How do you mean?
Right now you're not amping, but you're on heal aura. Passive heal aura isn't really that good. If anything, you're just taking healing away from your Ana. Giving them
majority
speed.
of the time.
Yeah, the majority of your
speed.
time you just want to be on speed. Like, think of it this way. With healing on heal aura, you heal up damage that your teammates have taken. But when you're on speed aura, you make it more difficult for the enemy team to hit your teammates. So you prevent the damage from even happening in the first place. You also give your teammates a lot more options, because you allow them to disengage and engage faster. You allow them to get in and out of cover faster. Whereas if you're on heal aura, then your teammates are less likely to actually punish enemies for mistakes, because they know that it's an overcommitment. Without speed aura, they won't be able to get in and out quickly enough, right? So you can stay on speed aura, and then after your team has taken some damage, that's when you can switch to heal aura, but then actually amp up the heal aura if your team needs it.
So, okay. Basically, majority of the time to be on speed aura, so my team can have options.
Yeah.
Like in and out, and even prevent damage from happening to begin
And that's
with.
the reason why you picked Lucio, right? You want to give speed to your team. That's the reason why you picked him in this situation. But if you're just going to be on heal aura all this time, then why did you pick Lucio?
Yeah.
I need to check the kill feed. You're still in a 6v6, right?
Yeah, right
Because
now.
there was the Rhine. And then you lose your Torb. Yeah, I wouldn't bother with the beat here. Just let your Reinhardt die.
Mm.
So, beat is an ultimate that charges really, really, like, slowly. Most of the time, on an attack, you only get 1 or 2. So it's really important that you get as much value out of the beat as possible. So right here, you use your beat really early. Like, you use it pretty much as soon as you get it. The benefit of that is that the chances are pretty high that you're going to be able to charge up a second one. But the problem is this beat is it's called a low percentage play. So there's a low chance of it actually succeeding because you're already in a 6v5. So even if you manage to save your Reinhardt, what situation are you going to be in?
Still a 65.
Yeah, so do you think using your beat to create a 6v5 is really like all that great?
No.
Right? And your teammates can't really like capitalize on this anyways. If your team was like super coordinated and really aggressive and they had a Mei and they had a Reaper, then maybe they could have used your beat to run over the enemy Reinhardt and then get a kill for it. Right? If your beat would allow your teammates to actually get a kill, then it would be good. But your team comp isn't that aggressive. You pretty much only have the Rhine who can run in. So you're using this beat just to save his life. But this team fight is kind of like scuffed anyways. Again, right here, you really just need to speed your team. Like, I want to give you the precise timing. Why did you stop there when you started moving towards your team? Like right here, why didn't you continue towards the Rhine?
I messed up my wall ride.
Oh, okay, so that's just mechanics. Okay, that's fine. Ideally, you would have just wanted to go towards him. Your Zarya has energy. Right now, you need to commit anyway, so what advantage do you have over the enemy team?
High energy Zarya, and I think 1 or 2 of them are dead. I think just 1.
Think more macro level. What intrinsic advantage does the attacking team have here on the first point?
It respawns.
Yeah, you're much closer to your spawn. Which means that because you're Hanzo, how many kills? I think he got 1 kill, or did he get 2? Yeah, he got the kill on the Genji. Which means this is an opportunity that you can actually play off of. So again, your beat was still wasted. And the situation that you're in right now is still super, super scuffed. But there is a way of salvaging it. You want your team to actually commit here. Because as long as you trade kills 1 for 1, eventually you're going to win. And you really want to win this team fight now because you've already committed beat. If you win this team fight, then your beat from earlier was fine. I mean, it wasn't good, but at least you got value out of it. But if you lose this team fight, not only have you wasted a lot of time, you also wasted the beat. So ideally, you go towards your Reinhardt, you swap to speed aura, and then right now, as soon as you get your amp, you just want to speed amp your Rhine and your Zarya. Just to see if they can get some, like, 1 kill, at least.
Alright.
But you're holding on to your amp, and I'm not sure why. Why are you holding on to your amp?
I wish I had an answer. I'm not really too sure. Like,
because I need to know whether you didn't use it because you forgot, or whether you didn't use it because you were like consciously trying to save it.
I think the latter of the two. I think I was just consciously trying to save it.
For heal amp?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to save your amp for heal amp, like, pretty much ever. The only situation I can think of where you would want to save your amp for heal amp is if you're playing Lucio Ana and you don't have beat and the enemy team has a grav. In that case, you would want to save heal amp just for the synergy with the Ana nade so you can stay alive through grav. But generally speaking, you don't really want to hold off of an ability that can give you value now for an ability that might give you value later, right? Because if you use your speed boost right now, it's going to give you value. Like, do you see that Mercy over there? She's dead meat. Like, honestly, with speed amp, you could probably solo kill her if your mechanics are good enough, right? But you need that gap closing ability, right? Do you see that Ana on the point?
Yes.
your Zarya can one-shot her. Like, she's also dead. So right now there are a lot of opportunities for you to be aggressive. You gotta pick on the Genji, you gotta pick on the Ashe. You have a spawn advantage. You want to be as aggressive as possible and close out this fight. Remember what you said earlier. You picked Lucio because you saw the brawl, which again was a low percentage play, right? It would have been better to commit to something that was a little bit more all-rounded, but at this point you've committed to the Lucio, and the reason why you pick Lucio in brawl is because of his speed boost, not because of his heal amp. But right now, all of your decision making is so focused on healing, trying to focus the Hanzo earlier, trying to save your amp so that you can heal amp when it isn't really necessary, right? Wasting your heal amp earlier when your main tank was about to arrive, even though you could have used it for a speed amp. The reason you pick Lucio is not for your healing sucks. Like, it's really not good outside of amp. It doesn't make a huge difference. Unless the fights just drag on for forever, you're not going to get much healing out of it. But your speed amp, you need to worry less. Here's I think this is kind of a mindset issue almost. You're so focused on not losing that you kind of forgot about actually winning. Like, your focus is just, okay, my teammates are like perma-feeding. Like, these people are all trash. So I'm just going to focus on keeping them alive and healing them. But that shouldn't be your mindset. Your mindset shouldn't be, how can I keep my teammates alive forever? Because no matter how long you keep them alive, if your team doesn't actually kill anything, you're just wasting time, and eventually the enemy team is going to kill something. Right? Your priority should be, especially with Lucio, especially with Rein Zarya, this is an aggressive front line. This isn't bunker. With bunker, you play slow, you play opportunistic, you try to go for picks. But because you're playing an aggressive comp, your focus should be, how can we get a kill before they can get a kill? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So even if you're worried about your Zarya or your Rein dying, so you really need to save your heal amp. If you speed amp them and you get a pick on the Mercy or the Ana, or you get the D.Va out of her mech, at that point, do you really care about them being low HP?
Not really.
Right? So just play to win. Especially since your team got anti-nated, so the heal aura doesn't even do anything anyways. What did you amp here? See, so right here, this was the heal amp.
Yeah.
And it's just not like a super valuable play. Like, half your team is kind of semi-dead anyways. Right? So sure, maybe your heal amp kept your teammates alive for like 4 extra seconds. But that doesn't matter if the Ana is still alive. That doesn't matter if the Mercy is still alive. Actually, I don't know if she's alive, but I think she's still alive. So all you did was just kind of delay what was going on. Okay, at least you got the kill on the Reinhardt, which means you have a spawn advantage. Just get back and oh, never mind. There's the Mercy res. See, remember when we talked about that example on Anubis? Where you wanted to go Lucio because you had a Reinhardt? Like, you don't, like, this Mercy, like, she gets it, right? Think about it. If you were in her situation and you would have seen Rein, D.Va, Genji, like, you can bet your ass you would have gone Lucio. You were like, oh, dude, these people are so aggressive. Yeah, I'm gonna go Lucio and speed them in. Okay, but this Mercy, her IQ is like 70,000 or something. She's like, okay, my team, like, they're playing this shit on defense, so they're super small brain, and they're just gonna perma-feed, so I'm just gonna go for res, so I can res them after they perma-feed. And that's exactly what she did here, because if they wouldn't have had a res, right, then your Reinhardt would have been back on the choke while their Reinhardt was still running out of spawn, and then you would have taken the point for free.
Right.
I'm a bit confused by what you're trying to do right now. So either you go back to spawn and you taxi, which is what you should do. I'm not sure. Why aren't you taxiing? I'm actually curious. Like, you're the first Masters Lucio I've seen that doesn't taxi.
It's mainly just because, you know, I figure our spawn's like right there.
Well, yeah, but like, does it matter? Like, if they can come back faster, then they come back faster.
Yeah.
If
I see
anything, if
what
the
you mean.
spawn is closer, then you have less to lose because you'll be away from your team for less time. Because the problem is you're kind of not doing either. You're like kind of going back, but then your Torbjorn dies, so you end up not taxiing them, and like it's just you're very conflicted. Okay, that heal amp is fine. I mean, he didn't need it, but it gives you ult charge, so that's okay. And you need to wait for your Torb anyways. There we go. Your comp is still awkward, but... Yeah, come on, speed amp. Go, 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 go. Speed amp. Oh, they wasted shatter. Okay, too slow. I'm thinking the heal amp might have been too greedy, actually.
Yeah, retrospect.
Yeah. So this is a case of hindsight being 2020, actually. Nah, you kind of had to, because you only have a minute left. Okay, so okay, here's the thing. The optimal play would have been to heal amp, but then your team just chills until you have your amp again. And then you guys can go on with the next amp. Did you call that you didn't have amp?
Yes.
Okay, and they didn't listen. Okay, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so the most efficient play, theoretically speaking, would be for you to amp, wait until the cooldown is back, and then go in, because then you would get your beat mid-fight. Obviously, in retrospect, the correct play would have been to not amp at all and to just wait, but you couldn't have really known that. I guess for solo queue, the safer play would be to just save your amp until you can speed them in. Like, it's a lot less efficient, but I guess it depends on how much you trust your teammates. Because your Ryan shouldn't be doing what he's doing right now without your amp. Like, that's a misplay. Actually, whatever, just take the eldest team fight, it's fine. Unless your teammates just carry you.
No, we win this.
Ooh, they do carry you. Oh, God bless, they do carry you. Let's go. Oh, beautiful. See, so this is like the beauty of solo queue. So they went in before you had amp, right? So they disrespected your authority, right? They were like, ha, we don't need your speed. Right? But they make up for it by actually carrying the team fight. They're like chaotic good, if that makes sense.
And the duality of solo queue.
Exactly. Oh, dude, you're just perma-feeding right now. Why did you go after this diva?
She was one.
I guess.
I tried to like body block the heals. I don't know, I guess I was thinking it would be worth it.
I get why you're doing it, but the safer play would have been just to go towards the point. So, okay, so what's... Okay, so... Oh, it's a tough call.
Yeah, that one shot that I blocked.
I'm thinking... I mean, it is true, because the Ana is kind of messing things up right now. Because ideally, the way this should have gone is you see her being one, but you ignore her and you just go towards the point. Because if she's one, either A, one of your teammates is going to clean her up anyways, or she's one, which means she's useless. Like, what is the difference between a dead diva and a diva with 1 HP? There is no difference, right? The dead diva is going to waste 20 seconds until she's back on the fight. A diva with 1 HP is going to waste 20 seconds waiting for health packs until she's back in the fight, right? So, theoretically speaking, you should have just ignored her because she was so low HP that it really doesn't matter, and you should instead focus on the fights that are happening on the point because you can actually make a difference there, whereas killing her doesn't make a difference. But it is true that the Ana is behind you, but I don't think you knew that the Ana was behind her, was it? Did you?
No, I saw her.
Yeah, you did. Okay. Yeah, I guess the only thing you could have done was hide in that room. But getting the pick on the Diva map is the safer play. Yeah, it's fine, because you traded 1 for 1 and you're closer to spawn, and you're Lucio, so your rollout takes like 2 seconds. So in that case, it was the correct play, but what's important to me is, do you understand, like, why it was the correct play, and kind of how the situation could have looked differently, and how you should have reacted differently to it? Like, how you should have played it if there wasn't an Ana. How you should have played it when you saw that someone was already going for her. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, I get
Okay.
it.
So under those specific circumstances, was the correct play. But under slightly different circumstances, you should have just ignored her. And the team delivers. Okay. Having beat for the second point snowball is really nice, but you guys aren't snowballing. Did someone die?
Our Ana.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. Isn't there something more productive that you could be doing right now than just standing here doing nothing?
Taxiing.
Like, look at her. Look at how she's it's like an old lady that's trying to walk over the road, but you're just ignoring her. Ana is like, what? She's like 70 or something? No, she's not 70. She's like 50. I don't know. You need to help out the elderly. It's courteous. Again, like, you being on heal aura just does fuck all.
What about to like keep myself alive? Say I was like half.
Oh, yeah. So for self heal you can do it. For self heal it's fine. During 1-on-1s, for example, it's also fine to be on heal aura if you want to. But for your team, like right now you're full HP, so you don't need the heal aura. So you should just do what's best for your team. And right now you could give your Reinhardt an advantage in the 1-on-1 if you would give him speed aura. Because it means that he can disengage. If he's losing this 1-on-1, he's dead. Like once they're in melee range of each other, they're gonna stay in melee range, right? So with this 1v1, there's 2 Reinhardts slamming each other. There's 2 outcomes. Either your Reinhardt is losing the 1v1, in which case he can use your speed aura to run away from the enemy Reinhardt, or he's winning the 1v1, in which case the enemy Reinhardt is going to try running away, but your speed aura helps your Reinhardt stay within melee range of the enemy Reinhardt. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so ideally you should be with your Reinhardt in speed aura right now. You can also, like... That heal lamp was okay. You kind of panicked because of the Mei, but I think that's justified, especially since you got a pick. So now that you've got a pick, this means you now... It's kind of the opposite of what happened earlier, where, if you remember, you use your beat, like after one of your teammates died, so that was a low percentage play. Now committing cooldowns are high percentage plays. So because you have an advantage, your goal should be to maintain this advantage for as long as possible. Right? Which means that now your stakes are changing. Now that you have an advantage, your speed aura actually becomes a little less valuable, and your heal aura becomes more valuable. Because if you getting a kill is less valuable to you than the enemy team getting a kill would be valuable to them. Does it make sense?
Could you repeat that?
So denying the enemy team kills is more important than getting kills yourself right now, because you already have a numbers advantage.
Right, yeah, makes sense.
You're in a 6v5, right? If you have the choice between getting into a 5v4 or just maintaining the 6v5, you should just ideally maintain the 6v5 if at all possible. Because if you keep your teammates alive, that's just more opportunities for your team to get picks. So because you have the advantage right now, you already have the Mei ultimate, you don't necessarily need the speed boost, so using your heal amp just to keep the Mei alive here is good. Yeah, so again, that beat is fine as well. Right now your main priority is to just keep your teammates alive, so you played that like that was perfectly fine. But again, let's say the Mei got the pick on the enemy Mercy, but she died for it. So you're in a 5v5. in that case, you shouldn't have bothered with heal aura. In that case, you should have just gone speed aura to see if you can enable your team to get a pick. It's just because you had the numbers advantage, you got more value out of maintaining that numbers advantage. Because when you're in 2CP, your main priority is just get on the point. Because the more people are on point, the longer like the defender's respawns get. So since you weren't on the point yet, you just wanted to keep your team alive so they could make it on the point. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. Highlights unavailable. Did you try to take a highlight during...
Yeah.
Oh my
course.
god. This wasn't even a good highlight. What did you do here? That was like, oh dude, that was impressive. Okay, let's
in the
okay.
general direction of the Genji Dragon blading.
Slow motion 0.5, let's go. Okay, let's look at this amazing highlight worthy play. So you kill the mini diva, you last hit her, okay, 15 fire. You literally just tickled her to death. Okay, huge play, mini diva kill secured. Okay. You get a 14 fire, 14 on the Lucio with your boop, the most mechanically demanding ability in Lucio's kit. Your aim really gave you the edge there. And then you did some sick wall rides. And you just got a spastic attack and moved your mouse and you got a what was this? An 11 on the Genji. Oh, bless your soul, dude. Fresh nuts incoming. You should ask him to get some of that sweet ad revenue. There's something about Lucio players and just highlighting everything. I blame DSP Stanky for it.
Yeah, I do too.
It's okay. I like the confidence. Even if it is false confidence. Oh, you're on Lucio here. Oh no. He sees the Torb, he sees the Mei, but he goes Lucio anyways just because he has a Rein Zarya. And he's on defense. Oh no, what are you doing? Oh, please don't.
No, I do, and it gets worse. It gets worse.
Oh, this is such a hard throw. What are you doing? Who are you going to speed? Oh, and he messes up the rollout. What are you doing? Oh, there were like so many promising moments on that first point attack, right? Like there was a lot of feed, but there was also some like there was potential, right? But this is a disappointment. Like with this comp, what do you need this? The only time you're going to push in aggressively with this comp is when?
They're down one.
I mean, that or if your Mei walls someone off. But in neither of those cases do you really need the speed boost. A Mercy Res would have been awesome. A Baptiste Immortality Field would have been awesome. Oh, dude. Even Ana, at least you could anti-nate the people your Mei walls off.
Yeah, no, we lose this point instantly.
Well, I wonder why.
And maybe not for the reason you're thinking.
Why are you not with your Reinhardt right now?
He's going in for a flank charge.
Right, but why are you not with him?
If he gets caught out, I don't want to be there with him.
But if he gets caught out, you lose anyways, don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, do you really think that if he dies here, you still have a shot at winning this?
No.
Right, so what do you have to lose?
That's true.
Right, so number one, you need to be with here. Because if he dies, you lose the point anyways, so, you know, might as well. You can't, like, it doesn't matter how hard you lose. If you lose, you lose. And number two, you actually reduce the likelihood of him feeding his brains out if you're with him. Because you can at least speed him or heal amp him or boot people away from him. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, but he survives, okay. So far so... Oh my god. Oh, you got shit on. That was a nice shot though.
Yeah, this Widow is insane.
Oh... Were you on speed aura at least? Oh, you weren't on... Actually, were you? Oh, you weren't. Do you know that it's more difficult for people to hit you when you're moving faster?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to heal up here? Nothing.
I was just trying to get my ult faster, like as fast as I could.
Okay.
'Cause, like that's like what I think of when like I need to get beat. I just like heal people and I get it like real
You
fast.
get your ultimate right, but here's what you want to do. So we know that you're probably not going to need your amp to speed in, right?
Right.
Which means you'll most of the time you'll heal amp here, right? The missing HP from your teammates isn't going anywhere. So what you could do is you could just sit on passive heal aura and heal them up. But there's two situations, right? If you're on passive heal aura, either your teammates don't actually take enough damage to warrant it, right? In which case, you're going to just delay your amp usage, right? So what happens if you're on heal aura and your teammates are just taking tickle damage, which you just counter heal? It means that you'll never have to amp. So that ability just sits there being useless, right? Or your teammates take more damage than your passive heal aura can take, in which case you're gonna have to amp anyways. In which case all of that passive healing you did was completely useless. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes
So
sense.
instead of slowly healing your team up over 20 seconds, instead you should be on speed aura, let them take damage, and then heal the same amount that you were healing passively in 20 seconds with your amp it up in like 4 seconds.
Right.
Does that make sense mathematically?
Yeah, I know that makes sense.
It heals the same amount, but with one you're actually getting value out of a cooldown, and the same amount of healing only takes a few seconds, which means you can use the remaining 16 seconds or whatever speeding your team, which is infinitely more useful. So you really don't want to use your passive heal aura to actually sustain your team. You want your team to take damage, and then you can get a one really, really fat amp that just heals everyone on your team. So by passively healing them, you're just denying your heal amp value. You're just preventing yourself from getting a really good heal amp out.
Mm.
And you also make it easier for the Widowmaker to hit you. Yeah, you can just stall here. Yeah, you can look for a cheesy boop if you want to. Yeah, you can really salvage that. The thing is, you might think that Greg the Torbjorn game threw this game, but I actually think you could have played around him, like especially on the defense. Like Torbjorn mains, no joke. I think they're the most scary people on this planet.
Really?
Yeah, because like when the fuck do you play against Torb? How much practice do you have playing against Torb?
None.
So imagine a team with 0 experience playing against Torb, playing against a Torb one trick. Like that is terrifying. But the main reason why it doesn't work most of the time is because people just see Torb and then they're like, okay, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then they don't play around him. When you have a god tier, like when you have Kefri on your team, you go Mercy. It doesn't matter what the rest of your team has. Like you just want to enable the one trick as much as you can. But a lot of people don't do that with picks that they don't approve of. Also, this Widowmaker is demolishing you.
Yeah, no, she was insane.
You're May. At least your team is very positive. I like it.
Yeah, no,
You
it
don't
was,
get
it was
that
a
in
good
EU?
environment, even though we didn't win.
It's fun. Oh look, Greg is carrying. He meleeed the diva. Let's go. Huge. Dude, this Widowmaker is actually demolishing you. Did you see her?
She gets like 3 here. Like I purposely stay in the corner just to like get out of her sight line. And I see that Zarya's in trouble.
I mean, okay, so I want to say that there's something you could have done here. So you didn't know that the Widowmaker was there, so contesting her wasn't really an option.
Yeah, I had no clue she was there until it was too late.
Yeah, so that you couldn't have done that. Using speed amp instead of heal amp wouldn't have made a difference there, like, at all. I mean, maybe it would have made it more difficult for the Widowmaker to hit you, but I'm pretty sure that if you would have speed amped instead of heal amped, your teammates would have just died. And they wouldn't have been able to follow up on their grav. Honestly, I think the Widowmaker just shit on you. Like, you just take the island in that case.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I wish I could give you more advice, but sometimes you just gotta give credit where credit is due. I mean, this is just stalling. This round is pretty much over at this point. See, so right here, you could have actually stayed on heal amp to heal up to Fool, but you don't. Why?
I didn't think anyone else was gonna touch. I didn't know anyone was gonna go and touch.
Oh. I mean, you can see teammates through walls. You could have just turned your
It was
camera.
just like the heat of the moment.
This Widowmaker is shitting on you so hard.
No, yeah.
What's her level? Oh, okay, never mind. I thought it was a Smurf. Yeah, that's the problem about Masters. That's when Widowmaker players are getting good. Ooh, nobody with a clutch counter. Ooh, Greg. He's owning. Oh, dude, your teammates deserve a medal. They're actually salvaging this. Ooh, why didn't you boop the Rhine away?
Does his boop, like, not move him at all? Barely any.
Oh, right. He has the tenacity now. Like the CC resistance.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
It's like 50%. Like he doesn't move.
Well, yeah, okay. I don't think it would have made a difference, but then again, it doesn't really hurt either.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't coached Lucio in a while, or like people with CC in general. So I didn't even think about the change. Because most people just don't have CC, like it just doesn't matter for Ryan. Oh, dude! At this point I would just go AFK and give her the deserved SR. Oh, that was so good!
That was a clean shot.
Oh!
So right here, would you say like speed would be good here?
Ah, yeah, you should have just gone on speed and tried to contest her. Like, this Widowmaker has been winning so hard, 24/7. At this point, I wouldn't even bother, like, dealing with your team. You should just go for the Widowmaker permanently. Like, that's your win condition. The rest of their team is trash. And you have, like, your teammates are actually decent. So as long as you shut down that Widowmaker, your team has a fighting chance. Like, right now, so obviously previously you didn't know where she was. Right now I would really just see if you can find the Widowmaker. That Widowmaker has been playing 4 hours of Kovacs today. Ah,
Oh my god.
this is demoralizing.
No, yeah. Arana just didn't have it after this round. Like she got really tilted.
Again, right now you're kind of ignoring the Widowmaker. So you saw the Widowmaker right here. Wait.
That's all the tracer, yeah.
Yeah, because you have like the wall hex, because you have your Widow of your own, so you know where their Widow is. I thought that the reason you beat it here is so that you could speed amp onto the Widow and then kill her. but you didn't do that. Why?
I figured since they're on his data, we need to sustain a little bit more. So I would
Again,
just
you
use
don't
beat.
pick Lucio for the sustain. Lucio is aggressive. You pick him so that you and your team can kill stuff. You have the spawn advantage. You're fighting right in front of your spawn. If the enemy team gets a kill, that buys them like 12 seconds.
Right.
But if you get a kill, that buys you like 25 seconds. So getting a kill is worth twice as much as denying the enemy team a kill. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And Lucio is much better at getting a kill than he is at denying the enemy kills. You don't have amazing healing. Outside of beat, you don't really have a lot of tools to save your teammates right now. And you already used beat. Okay, but your Hammond is doing stuff, so that's good. Oh, these comms are so in A. This game right now is actually so clutch.
It really is.
The Hammond pick. But this is peak solo queue. They have a Brig. They have a Brig, Ryan, Diva, May, without a... Like, look at their comp. How is that a good comp without a Lucio? Like, who is supposed to get within range of anything without a speed boost? This is the type of shit you face in solo queue. Okay? 5 monkeys and then 1 hyper carry smurf. NA solo queue. Okay, to see if you can find the Widow. She's the only one with a brain on the enemy team.
Yeah, that's where it starts getting her tilted.
See, the problem is you're still focusing so much on peeling for your team instead of dealing with that Widowmaker. Right now, you know where the Widowmaker is coming from. You know that she'll be somewhere over here. She'll either be there, or she'll hook up here, or she'll be somewhere there. So ideally, you want to be in a position where as soon as you spot her, you can get to her quickly. But you're going away from the Widowmaker. You know that she's somewhere over here, but you're going away.
Yeah.
Right? To save your team. But how are you supposed to save them here? Like, does your heal amp do anything right now?
Well, they were nated, so you know maybe there was like a chance.
No. Again, you're overestimating how much your heal amp actually does. Your heal amp is really just to farm up your ultimate, but you can't properly save your teammates against damage like this unless you have beat. So whether you're here or not, your teammates would have died anyways. But at least if you would have stayed forward, maybe you could have spotted the Widowmaker. And you could have gone for the Widowmaker. And if you would have killed the Widowmaker, not only would you have saved your Torbjorn's life, you also would have gotten a kill, which gives your team a numbers advantage.
Right.
So in the kill feed, just imagine this part, right? Just imagine that part like flipped. Okay. My amazing drawing skills, let's get it. Okay, this side being blue and this one being red. Oh, so artistic. Call me Picasso. Doesn't this kill feed look a lot better already?
Yes.
Oh, and then she says shits on you as well. Oh, Jesus. Okay. This is the part where you can ask questions.
Should we go over again when to use speed and heals? Because I'm still a little confused. So from what I understand, you stay on speed the majority of the time, and then when your team takes a fixed amount of damage, not just like poke, but more like
when they're like proper low HP.
damage.
Yeah.
Just like amp heals to farm ult.
Yeah, you want to get as much value out of your heal amp as possible. You don't just want to heal amp and then heal like 20 HP. When you heal amp, you ideally want it to heal as many people as possible for the entire duration. If your teammates are full HP, they don't get any healing, you don't get any ult charge. Right? But the only way you can get them low HP is if you don't sit on passive heal aura. You want to make sure that when you press E, that button press gets as much value as possible. Okay?
All right.
But
Yeah.
if you're on heal aura, it's not. It's just sitting there unused. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
No, that's really it.
You sure?
Well, with this new meta coming out,
Yeah.
Brig has been seeing a lot more playtime, and I'm just kind of like when to use her, because like the way I think is like she's kind of like Lucio in a sense that she can like peel for her team, and like her inspire like keeps them up, kind of like Lucio's aura. But the only thing is she doesn't have like a defensive ult, so like would I just pick her into like say a dive comp, like against a dive comp?
Pretty much the only situation I can think of is when your team is playing a brawl comp on defense against a dive comp.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, that is the only niche where she would genuinely be like a high value pick. You can pick her in other situations, but honestly Moira or Lucio are just going to be better. And the problem is, the only situation if you want to play Brig on attack, she really needs a speed boost. But if you run, obviously you can't run triple support anymore. Previously in Goats it worked because, like, obviously Lucio doesn't heal a lot, Zen doesn't heal a lot, Brig doesn't heal a lot. But if you have 3 supports, then together they're gonna kind of make up for that. But you can't run 3 supports anymore. And if you run Lucio Brig, your healing is just gonna be abysmal. But you also need the Lucio, because if you don't have speed boost as Brig on attack, you're just gonna be kind of useless.
Right.
So if you're a brawl comp and you want to hold a choke, then Brig is fine, because then the enemy team has to run into you. Especially if you have someone on the enemy team you can shut down, like if they play dive, if they have a Genji or a Tracer or something, then it's okay. But yeah, she's just too easy to deal with, to be honest. I don't think she's really strong. Most people are probably just experimenting with her because of the buffs, but yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay, awesome. Well,